Hello, welcome to Where's Your Focus? It's brought to you by the Community Gateway. And today's episode, I have Pushti and Jenica, and I'm Asia Rain. And we're here to continue our conversation that has been circled around or around the theme of domestic violence. So this is episode 3. And this episode is basically us going deeper and deeper into this process of of healing, actually, and recognizing where you are. We're going into body wisdom after abuse. There is so much to be known and really aware here. And so I'm really excited about this conversation. Before we begin it, though, I do want to let you know that we have episode 1, domestic violence. There was a number of us that were talking about what that was like, what that is. And that conversation happened back in September. And then we had a continuation in October, and it was titled Empowerment After Abuse. And now we're going into the body wisdom after abuse. And so if you want to refer to any of those episodes, you will be able to find the links under this episode in the comments below and attached to this recording so that you can actually have all 3 concise. And if there is anybody that you can think of that would benefit from this, please share. This is going to be something that can be very activating and empowering, especially for those that want to be seen, validated, and recognized in ways that maybe they haven't been before. So what I want to do is just begin with an open conversation. I'm going to have Jenica briefly introduce herself first, and then Pushti is going to introduce herself as well. After I give you a little bit about me, my name is Asia Rain, and I am also a mentor. I am a survivor of satanic ritual abuse and also MK Ultra mind programming. I spent a number of years healing from that, looking into that, and finding the wisdom on the other side of that. My experiences and my guidance have actually deepened and developed where I do support others through group conversations, through personal work, through creativity with jewelry making, because I am a silversmith, and I do offer those kind of classes and workshops. And you can find some lectures as I begin to put them out more and more about these subjects and kind of educating people more and more about those things that I experienced for about 37 years of my life until I basically healed from it and stepped away from that situation and that cult. So there's going to be more about me. I'll let you know a little bit more about it, but just know that I see and know and understand very deep trauma from a place that has a lot of violence surrounding it. And then also the light on the other side of that is magnified in me in a really powerful way as I've healed. So that's me. All right, Jenica, let us know a little bit more about you.
Oh, that was beautifully said. It's amazing what you offer. So I'm Jenica Haywood. I'm an integration and ascension master. I work with people who have also come from extreme abuse situations. I also am a survivor of satanic ritual abuse, mind programming. The list can go on when you start diving into all that that encompasses. But I am also a massage therapist and have spent many years combining energy work, body work, as well as a mental and emotional integration and raising our frequencies from within to be able to reflect that from without. And through this journey, as Asia had said, it's also brought a light into my world, into my life, and into my body that has transcended issues that I dealt with for a very long time. For example, depression, PTSD, and many physical ailments that few of them started within my abusive relationship that I talked about back in episode 1. And it's been quite miraculous to firsthand experience the kind of healing, the power that that involves, and the changes that that can create within your own body, your own being, and your experience to your day to day. So I bring a plethora of different modalities and awarenesses to the journey of finding your way out of abuse and back into health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Pushti, what do you have?
Wow, I'm intimidated after listening to what both of y'all bring. Because I don't have that much. But uh, I've been a healer for a very long time. And yes, I've also been a survivor of physical and emotional abuse on a very, very deep level. So I have broken out of that with the help of yoga, with the help of Reiki, with the help of breath work, rebirthing in breath work to be precise, and also a lot of general spontaneous movement of the body. And when all of this got together and it culminated into something, it became a new modality that I'm still working on. But I also have trained in something called Creatrix, which really helps go deep within, especially women's psyches, in a way where it gets rid of that trauma and generationally. And finally, you realize it never comes back. So when I take that and I add in the yoga and the Reiki and the breath work and all of that I do, it actually kind of brings people to a space where they do not need to go back to feeling that way. Because it's not like I gave them the answer, it's like the answer grew from within them. And, when it grows from within us, we listen more. So I've just been working on all of that. And through that, I have survived and I have been able to get my 3-year-old nonsensical sense of humor back. So I will,
Yes.
be really happy about that. That's me.
That's a bonus. Not everybody can actually say that. So this is, yeah, that should be celebrated. I love what you just said, Pushti, where if it comes from within us, we listen.
Yeah.
We listen better. Is that what you said? We listen better.
We listen.
We listen. So I think that's a beautiful transition into our focus today with the body wisdom, because it's so beautiful how and what a an asset and a friend our bodies are. And yet when that abuse is there, it's like a really thick insulator. And so peeling away those layers of what that abuse has done, the scarring that is there, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean that you don't have experience with it or memories, or that you haven't denied yourself, but you can actually just kind of peel those layers away. And the closer and closer you get to the thinning those scars out, thinning out that abuse and your identification with those traumas, the closer and closer you actually get to your own body wisdom. And that partnership with your body suddenly becomes a new friendship. And you may find that you're in a new zone with this. It's like, it's more than just really kind of feeling like, oh, this is how my body's moving. Although I can totally see that that's how yoga and Reiki would very, very much help even integrate more of how you can feel and what you can sense in your body. But just even having a conversation with your body may be something that is really unfamiliar. Self-hate around your body is such a huge impact when it comes to domestic violence and shaming and gaslighting, and whether there's physical or emotional or mental attacks upon that relationship and upon you, as upon the individual that it is on the other side of this abuse. All of this adds to that layering to keep you insulated from your body. And so I really love how you were saying that, Pushti. And so let's kind of jump in. If either of you have something that immediately is like, oh, let's start with this. What is body wisdom to you?
So for me, body wisdom basically is about literally the body telling you stuff that you already know, but have managed to, like you say, layer it so deeply within that you can't listen. And like you said, yoga and Reiki help you get it out. But more than anything else, when I think about yoga, everybody says, yeah, it's okay. You can do an asana, or you can do a pranayama, and you'll be fine. But the fact is, when you start doing a certain body movement that yoga gives you, you will be very surprised how you stop and your body blocks you from doing certain things. Then, if you're sensitive enough, you actually don't start breaking that block or like rushing through it. You actually kind of go into that block and ask it, why are you there? What can I do for you that will help you shift? And then you've got to be ready for like the Niagara Falls coming out of your eyes. You're sensitive, seriously, because so much will happen. So much will be heard by you from your body. You will realize, okay, XYZ said something to me when I was like in my fifth grade, and I'm still holding on to it. And so many other people have repeated it. So, it's compounded and now it's huge. Now I can't move my shoulder. This is all I can do. I can't take it this high, so I can't move it. But the minute you realize this is what's happened, and the body is telling you what you need is to tell yourself you're all right. And with that, maybe I need you to hold me here. I don't need you to put anything on me. I just need you to hold me. Literally, your body is a being that needs physicality. There's nothing wrong with a body asking for human touch. People usually think about sexuality when you say that. No, it's just a very gentle touch, your own touch, your own hand. Just do this to your shoulder when it's actually starting to talk to you. Yeah, just that. Just pamper yourself. I know if people feel it's wrong, but it's not. Yeah, just feel
This
yourself, just there.
this
Just
is one
that.
of my favorite things with massage therapy, especially in reading the energetics and listening to their body. But it's my favorite when I have clients come in that this is more foreign to them. They're not used to being touched. It's, they're exploring massage because they're in pain, but we quickly dive into and recognize that even in their personal lives, whether it's themselves touching them or a partner or the trauma that has caused those layers and that insulation that doesn't allow for the reception of touch, it's absolutely incredible, the sheer just that I can feel from someone's body when they finally relax and receive that touch, that loving, caring, caressing touch that has nothing to do with sexuality, nothing to do with anything that they need to participate in, sheerly receiving love and care on a physical level has done massive things, especially when we're talking in the context of coming from abuse, getting out of abuse, currently sustaining abuse. Our bodies carry so much for us. I love that you had mentioned that, Pushti, because it's the general population has yet to wrap their head around just the sheer baseline, mental, emotional, spiritual. Your body also holds those. Your body also, it's a part of the whole, the four fractions. It's there. Your emotions are held in muscles. Your responses to your stimulus around you is held in your nervous system. Your hormones respond based upon how your internal system is navigating and interpreting everything else around you. So when you can't even accept, allow the touch of yourself or allow the healing touch of another, that's a key indicator right there that you've got a plethora of blocks in all three other quadrants as well, the mental, spiritual, and emotional. So it can be such a beautiful key, like you said, into yoga. And you're like, wow, I can't even do that. That's really interesting. Why is that? This is exactly my own process in removing myself from my abusive relationship. But prior to, and just prior to, developing this was about, maybe 8 months, almost a year prior to actually leaving the relationship, I had started developing chest colds and coughs, extreme throat, like sore throats and infections there. And I developed lockjaw. And my connection with my body at the time was so distorted and so muted and insulated that I was like, oh my gosh, I've never experienced this before. Why am I having lockjaw? Why am I getting sick every 2 weeks? I'm a healthy person. I've never gotten sick this frequently. I don't understand what's going on. And it's not until getting out of that and looking and listening to my body that I then started really teasing out and deciphering what my body was really trying to tell me. My body was trying to show me that I was not using my voice and speaking up for myself, shutting down my throat chakra. I was absolutely sustaining and accepting so much bombardment that my chest was just collapsing and causing, without that breath of expansion, everything got blocked up and was causing me to get sick all the time. Those lockjaw issues took months and months, if not years, to unwind and pull out of my system. And it wasn't just not using my voice, it was my actions, it was the way I was conducting myself. It was so out of sync and so distorted and based on everyone else. My chakras were shutting down, causing physical health ailments that directly were reversed through this process of healing and allowing my body to release, to speak, to be cared for, to be listened to. The list goes on, but my body is essentially what told me and gave me the explanation of, hey, this is why we've been going through this. This wasn't mental. This wasn't in a meditation. This was strictly like, tell me what's going on. I love you. I care for you. I want to know.
I
It's
love that.
incredible.
Well, I love that you turned once you did leave that relationship, that you turned the questioning here versus going out again, to a authority or professional or whatever, that part of the process that you were experiencing was turning to your body, was taking those signals and saying, what is this about? Just like what Pushti was saying, why can't I raise my shoulder? And you're like, what is going on with my jaw? And the question that I had that you answered was, just for information, for others that may be listening to this, is once you have the awareness, that doesn't necessarily mean that it suddenly disappears, although it can. And although the process does unwind, I'm really glad that you included the fact that it took months and years to unwind this. So if you, as somebody that is watching this and, like really stepping into starting this journey with your body, that body wisdom is there, but the trust relationship has to be developed. And there's also physicalities about our bodies that actually require time. Like if you have got lockjaw, that doesn't mean it suddenly unlocks and things are good. You've actually created some things with muscles. You created some things with the joints, especially whatever it is. Even allowing the time frame for your body to kind of like heal and then rejuvenate and come back into alignment and all of that requires support. And turning on your body and saying, well, it's not better, so I just give up, is abandoning yourself again. That's actually tapping more into trusting the abuse of the relationship or relationships that you're used to than really standing in trust. And sometimes it's hope, sometimes it's just, I don't know anything else, but I'm really going to this is what's with me for the rest of my life. So this is where I'm going to have my loyalty, and exploring what that is. So I really there is a time frame on that, and there is a body relationship that has to be developed. So I'm curious if either of you two have worked with others, including yourself, where that process of touch even and body wisdom and listening has really been not just profound, but actually a little bit confusing. I know, Jenica, you as a massage therapist, it takes people a lot of faith to get out, even on that table, to have somebody else touch them. So have you ever run into anybody that isn't quite at that place yet where they're just like, oh, don't touch me. Just don't touch me. I don't want to, I don't want that. And what have you like done with that? And Pushti, I have the same question for you. Have you guys ever encountered anyone like that?
And so I've had many experiences over the years, but two pop into my mind. Number one, it's always just kind of a interesting, it's always interesting when I get people on my table that are ticklish, like everywhere.
Mm,
And that one's largely there's only a certain level of touch that they can be receiving, which is why then their body will shake it off and like, ah. They call it, you call it ticklish, but there's a real lack of accepting of touch in that one. But the main example that popped to my mind was really when I was diving into and exploring in depths the really where our body holds a lot of traumas and emotional imbalances, but also how deeply and the responsiveness. So here I am exploring and just having a riot of a time massaging this man, and you just feeling so much, really listening to his muscles. At this point, he had drifted off. It's a different kind of falling asleep when you're in a massage, but it's my favorite place to take people because their body then responds to me in full clarity because their mental processes are drifting. So
mhm.
it's a really wonderful split, and he had gotten to that point, and so I'm just like loving the responses that his muscles are giving him, very deep tissue, very slow, very into the deep layers of the hamstrings and glutes. And the glutes are one of my favorite things because of how many layers there are. We hold a ton around our hips and pelvis, and glutes is largely where it will just pile on. So in this situation, I was getting more and more thrilled with the like the efficiency and the effect, there we go, the effect that was taking place in working with these muscles and the energetics and exploring what this can do. And he got up off of the table and said he needed to go to the bathroom and did not come back. He just left. And like after this full, with like 10 minutes left in this treatment, mind you. So like we had gone the full, like again. And so, as my learning self was like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? And then all the information came full circle. It was so abundantly clear to me that the emotional responses, the energies that were lying dormant in his muscles that I was now pressing upon and releasing and stretching and loving and giving this care to, there was a hard wall that ended up being hit that made him go, nope, I'm gone. I mean, this to date was one of my best massages where I know I'm like this, he was responding well and there were changes taking place. It was incredible. And just to see how abruptly, without his awareness whatsoever, I still to this day do not know what was going on in his mind. The explanation he gave to my front desk was quite comical after the experience, right? Because this was a very deep tissue, and yeah, it was all based around pressure, but so interesting to see this dives so deeply into the sheer wisdom of the body, the intelligence within, because I don't believe that it was his conscious mind feeling and knowing and going, oh, I'm not ready for that. It was really his body going, okay, we've done the work we can do. This is enough. Like we cannot overwhelm his system, our nervous system, our hormonal systems, our energetic, emotional. Your body knows what you're ready for. Your body knows what you can take on and what needs to be left for a further time. There's many points in times where you're up against this dam that is breaking and the water behind it threatens to take your very life from you. That is how powerful the emotional realm can feel.
Mhm.
It does you no service to push you past the point that you can handle, and your body knows that threshold. So this is where you can get into many nuances of when you push your body past its threshold and what that can cause and create, and the issues and pains and aches and whatever, when you're not listening to your body and pushing it. But also in the journey of healing and of exploring the traumas, exploring the emotions that have been frozen in time, frozen into your muscles, the response that is then created and used as your baseline, whether it's the belief system or strict body response, it knows when you're ready to cross that. And trusting where you're at in the process at all times is not only an act of self-trust, but it's also a green light for your body to go, okay, we'll continue to talk to you and we're going to continue to give you these indicators of too much, not paying attention to me enough. We need some physical touch and care. We need some alone time. We need to breathe and stretch. There's a baseline of care in the physical body that most of us, especially in the Western world, almost laugh at. This is why there's so many people who don't even know what touch outside of the context of sexuality is. So there's also a level of, like you're talking about the jaw thing taking a while, like because of my energetic shutting down within this abusive relationship, the lockjaw was teaching me, but it developed my muscles to be responding in a way that I'm still working with today, but largely had to have some repetitive body work, some repetitive energy work, things that would not only assist my body in recreating a new baseline, but then unwinding what my muscles and internal response systems now go to as normal. So this goes back to the touch thing as well. When people are not used to the touch, their natural response is to pull away, is to protect, is to, I'm ticklish, get off of me, whatever it is. Pulling that into, wow, my body is not even used to this. And like you said, Pushti, our physical beings need physical care. It's just how it is. So it's interesting to flow between the unwinding of traumas, the uncovering of responses, and then the working and supporting your body back to a baseline that is in a healthier place. And then also supported with practices like breath work, like yoga, massage, acupuncture. There's so many that you can take advantage of that will just reset your body, realign all four quadrants, and create a baseline of communication between all of them.
I completely agree with what you've said, and I want to take it like a step forward, or rather just continuing from where you left off, that, you've got to have a baseline of self-care and self-love, right? But the most interesting part is that we are so impacted by the external situation and the external voices around us. Okay, I'm going to take myself as an example. So this is not me as bulky as I used to be. Okay, I used to be much bigger. And this is me having really gone down. You know why? Because I suddenly one day woke up to my body trembling in bed. And I'm like, okay. And my mind's going, why are you trembling? It's not cold. And we're in Bombay, we don't get cold. What's wrong with you? Why? So I'm thinking, okay, I have a fever or something like that. And I realized, no, no. And there was this need for hot water on me. Okay. Because I had this constant feeling of give me hot water, hot water. And I'm like, okay. So I got out of the shower and I just stood there. I don't like hot water because anyway the city is too hot. So you don't want to get into a hot shower. But I stood there and it took me about 20 minutes before my body stopped trembling. Okay. And then suddenly, I had this feeling of I need to stand under the cold shower. So I did that. And I finally completely, like you can say, a 99% relaxed, you know. And then I couldn't help it, but I had to go see myself. And I think that was for the first time that I actually looked at myself. Because till then, I was told, not by me, but by everyone, you're fat. Oh my God, what kind of a body do you have? This is big, that's big, this is horrible, that's stretch mark, there's this, there's that. And I actually refuse to want to accept looking like that because, I've grown up in the film industry, I'm an actor. So I've grown up there and I've always had women look, stick figure thin, this and that. And it's like this and they're this tall and this thin. And it's that typical hourglass figure or this figure or that figure. And, these million names for them. But the thing is, I was never like that. So I was always looking down upon myself. And I was very helped to look down upon myself by everyone around me, including my own family, saying, you've got such a pretty face, you're such a good actor, you should lose some weight. Okay, so what does my acting have to do with me having weight on? Nothing. My face is still as pretty. What's wrong with my weight? The fact is, it was not like, maybe you should just take care of yourself. If you look at it, they were trying to tell me to take care of myself, but their verbiage for me was wrong because it was like, oh, you're fat, and that got into my head saying something's wrong with my body. So I shut down to the wisdom of my body. I started not eating properly. I started not sleeping enough. I sometimes started overworking myself. I've got to lose weight. And my body was giving me signals constantly saying, this hurts, that doesn't feel good, this doesn't feel good, stop it. Oh, you're longing for that, eat it. And I would say, no, 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 that's going to give me weight. It's going to give me cholesterol. It's going to give me calories. And I'm like, my God, I know so many words for these things. How come I don't know happy words is what I started thinking that day when I looked at myself in the mirror. And I said, wow, I mean, fine, okay, it's bigger than normal or what people call normal. But just look at this. This is the one thing that has stood by me through thick and thin, no matter what it was. The illness that I manifested in it, the madness of the mind that I've manifested, the emotional up and downs, everything that I've manifested, this thing that I'm looking at in the mirror has stood by me without asking me a single question. In fact, it's consistently told me, I'm here. Do this to make it better for yourself. Do that to make it better for both of us. Suddenly I realized that there wasn't this togetherness that I had with my body. Like you can actually look at your body as an elemental by itself. You live inside your body, but your body is pretty much a different being altogether, and it has its own everything. All its systems are, set to go. And the thing is, we are not allowed by a lot of people around us, even social media in general, the media in general, forget only social media. We're not allowed to look at ourselves or accept ourselves for who we are, which is what shuts down our body. And that is one of the biggest traumas anyone can go through. So, I just want to say, don't only look at trauma coming from the outside. It starts there for sure, but see how you have carried it on. And from that much, you've probably made it that much for yourself, But again, I insist it's not your fault. You were guided in that direction, you went there. But now, everyone who's heard this or has heard someone else say it, you have the ability now to reach in, to take a moment to find out what is going on. And besides the fact that you allowed this to happen for yourself, please remember that everything that's going on in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, a lot of it comes to you from your ancestors. We don't understand this, but it is baggage from at least 14 generations prior to us. Our body, being the elemental that it is carrying all of that. And trust me, if one of us has said, okay, I can sort this out, we've done a favor, we've done a big service to 14 generations that side and 14 generations that side. We have sorted that one trauma out, and literally, until someone begs for it to come back, that being sorted out is not going to come back. So the first thing you need to do is understand that if you realize there is trauma and you get a chance to deal with it does not have to be your fault. It's a gift. It's a blessing and almost becomes a responsibility. Like, no pressure, but it does become a responsibility. So you might just want to take it on. And for that, just, there's one very simple thing that I tell people to do. Most of my clients, I tell them to do this: strip like butt naked and stand in front of the mirror. Look at yourself. Because I can be very sure, I can write it in my freaking blood. For the first 3 days, you will cry. You will cry. And how? Because you will just look at yourself and say, oh my God. First, you'll say, "Ugh, ugly, oh, not nice, oh, this, oh, that." You'll do all of that. But finally, you will settle into, wow, that's me. Just that little dropping from your mind into your heart. That's me. And that acceptance will be one of the biggest first steps you can take to listen to your body, where you will immediately start listening to what you need to do to heal from whatever trauma there is inside you and come at whatever level, internally, externally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. It will definitely make a difference. And I know this because literally gone through it myself.
Absolutely.
And today, when I did a photo shoot, okay,
Yay.
I did a naked photo shoot. I could
Yeah.
not have done it before that. Yeah, and the guy who did it for me says, "Oh my God, I have never seen a woman." And he's been shooting women all over the world. Okay. He's like, "I have never seen a woman who is so confident in her naked body."
That's
I'm like,
incredible.
I know. And I had tears in my eyes. I'm saying, you have no idea what it's gone through.
Yeah, that's such a huge confirmation of like
It
how
is.
far you've come.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the fact is, that it's just about the fact that now I know how to play with my body.
Mhm.
I know how to play with it. I know what it wants. I know
Mhm.
when it's up to mischief and it wants me to participate. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to be mischievous, and the body says, no, not this time. Okay, fine. You take a step back, like, all right, I listen to you. And sometimes you push your body to go with you.
Mhm.
So, sometimes the body will want lazy time.
Mhm.
Please don't
Oh,
judge
for
it.
sure.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so important to give your body the lazy time it needs.
Oh.
Because exactly, it needs to let that sigh out and say,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay."
Mhm.
It needs that,
And to
It's
not have your mind coming in and going, we should be doing this, we should be doing
exactly.
that. What about this? That's not rest, guys. That is not rest.
No.
I love what you're pointing at, which is really this switch, this pivotal point from constantly and always being at war between your mental body and your physical body. Always just back and forth, back and forth.
Mhm.
And this exercise that you're pointing out of standing and looking at yourself is so incredibly important and so beautiful because it offers the opportunity to create even just a singular line of partnership, friendship, mutual exception, ex,
Acceptance.
accept, yeah, acceptance. Thank you.
Acceptance.
um, acceptance. And I when you were saying that, I was like, oh, and this is a golden opportunity to feel the emotions that are within your body that you keep ignoring, to hear thoughts that automatically come up to attack your body, the
Mhm.
things that are um thoughts and emotions and feelings that come up as you're standing looking at your naked non-filtered self can be just an absolute doorway into what you were talking about of those internal traumas, those core beliefs that whatever has happened with you and your outside life and people telling you things has created this. I'm not good enough unless I have an hourglass figure. I'm not good enough unless my boobs are nice and perky or my penis is this long.
Yeah.
I cannot accept love because I've got stretch marks and cellulite. I mean, the list goes on, but these beliefs, that is where the war between your mind and body begins.
Yeah.
That is where the automatic response of, because I believe I'm not good enough, now I'm going to start picking myself apart and tell myself why, furthering the validation of a belief that's still stirring, that's within your body, that your body is carrying for you and continually taking a beating about, while still being by your side and loving you regardless. Like, there's a real relationship to be had, because like you said, your physical body is its own organism. It's its own entity with its own intelligence and its own memory bank. You also have your mental, but the same applies in your emotional field and your ethereal field. So creating, you're likely not going to get out to your ethereal fields and what's going on there, or even your mental and emotional, without creating a baseline of trust, love, and support between your mind and body. And the way to get there is through the war zone that you see just coming up from out. Oh, I'm looking in the mirror. Oh God, what is that? Oh, my acne. I wish I didn't have as many wrinkles. Stop. Your body is something to be cherished and loved, and it may not feel that way, especially if it has taken beatings by other people, mental and emotional abuse that just hammer in the truth that you're not good enough, lowercase t, because it's not the truth. But somewhere inside you, it believes that, especially if you've been sustaining this kind of abuse for a long amount of time. You begin agreeing with it. This is why my body developed such severe symptoms. Like, I couldn't yawn. Guys, I learned how to yawn with my mouth closed. They get so severe because it's screaming at me to think a different way, to believe something different, to listen and find what the actual truth is. And that is, my body is magnificent. It has an intelligence beyond what my mind can even wrap its head around, and it has bounced back and survived from and healed from, again, shit that my mind can barely wrap its head around. I mean, give it some serious credit here, and maybe let it take the reins for a little bit. Maybe let yourself sit in bed or take a hot shower. Baths are my favorite. I'm a big water person that always just calms, relaxes, restores my parasympathetic nervous system so it can do its healing. It brings back love and peace within. It brings me back to a baseline that I have worked so hard to get to in partnership with my body, to view the gifts that it gives me, to see it as divinely gorgeous. And I wanted to say, just because it just shouted to me when you were saying, Pushti, that as you have deepened your relationship with your body, as you have listened to her more, and as you have opened and deepened your vulnerability with her, your sexuality has done the same. Your ability to be photographed, to feel sexy, to show up as who you are. And I'll add my own aspect into it. As I've created a deeper level of trust and vulnerability within my body, my personal relationship, my sexual relationship it's gone to depths that I didn't know existed. I didn't know that there could be so much pleasure and so much vulnerability if I can relax into my body. The more relaxed my body is, the more fun everything is, the deeper depths, the deeper connections, the expression of love for myself is born through my expression of love with my husband. And it's so clear when I start getting down on myself, and when I feel like I'm too big, I should be thinner. God, my body last year was so much more healthy. What have I done to it? Still talking badly about myself. He feels it. Our relationship changes, specifically our sexual relationship, because now he's playing the role of, you're beautiful. You're like, trust me, this is fine. Like, I love your body, while I'm going, can I believe that? that's not sexy. That's not
Mhm.
fun. That's not vulnerable. But when I get into my body and I can feel her and just the sheer sensuality and expression, and I want to feel everything that I can feel. I mean, it's incredible what that can open you up to, whether that's, again, just personally with a partner, in other relationships that's non-sexually, the vulnerability that's deepened within your own being shows up in your life everywhere, everywhere,
That's
and
such
in your health.
and in your health. That's such a beautiful description, both, taking both of what you have been saying, what you've been saying. I don't know, there's a beautiful basket of information to take from or to hold as a complete message. I really love that. I I know our bodies, the motivation and the baseline for this organism, this human organism, is optimal health. It wants to function optimally. And if you can use that word optimal, I think for me at least, it has relaxed what it should be doing, right? The perfection of, if I know my body is actually constantly moving towards its optimal functioning, that I can trust, right? I can trust that since this is its goal, it's going to want to release and rid itself of things that are not optimal, right? This is going to be the emotions. This is going to be the fuel that it's using. It's going to be how much movement it is there or isn't there. It's going to be how much sleep. Like, it starts bringing in all of these other aspects. How much touch, if there's touch, when there's touch. What are you saying? This goal that I don't want to say goal, but the movement towards optimal health, optimal functioning is just the way this organism wants to operate. And so when you have ailments and illnesses and things that aren't quite working, like that aren't working in its optimal form. I can't raise my arm. I can't yawn with my mouth open. That is a signal. And your body doesn't want to stay there. That's my point. Your body is not satisfied with shutting itself down. It will give you these signals. It is constantly talking to you saying, here's something that feels really good. Let's work with that. Here's something that feels not good. Here's something that's not working. And a lot of times, without this conversation and the trust in our body, then again, without that language and that trust that is invested in, it doesn't have to be fully developed, but you need to invest in what that process is. It's super easy to jump outside of yourself and go, well, this is, this hurts and that's there. So what can I take? Who can I talk to? What's the prescription on what needs to take care of this? What operation needs to remove something? And maybe that's not the right or the first thing that needs to be addressed. It's really a complex matter that sometimes we, through trauma, just are trying to get rid of or trying to take care of. And the shift for me of looking at my body as always being in a consistent desire and a consistent mode of optimizing whatever it is. Like when we eat and we're ingesting food, it's looking for the optimal value in what it is that we've put into our bodies. Is it optimal in the nutritional calories? Is it optimal in the instant fuel? Is it, like, what is it doing? And it knows how to break that down. We don't like mentally have to go, okay, put this here, put that there. We don't have to mentally think about breathing. We don't have to mentally think about our heartbeat. So what we need to mentally be aligning together is the language and the respect and the signalings of our body, and just trusting the fact that it really does have our best interest in mind.
I wanted to add one thing just at the end. Sorry, Pushti. I just wanted to add, pain is a communicator.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the source of what needs attention. It's communicating. It really is a friend. It sucks, which is why we tend to try to run from the pain, and or how can I get rid of the pain, right? Whatever form you choose, whether that's, an addiction, like alcoholism or shopaholic, workaholic, whatever, or whether it's just direct, like, give me painkillers, like, what can you do, doc? I'm not talking negatively towards any of it, but I want to point to pain is a communication tactic. It is an indicator of something further and deeper that needs to be explored. It is not the pain you're trying to rid yourself of, it's the cause of it. And the cause can be found in many different ways, whether it be through the medical system or whether it be through, internal healing or emotional things or standing in front of the mirror. I mean, that's where you can really get creative, but go deeper than the pain and ask what the pain is trying to tell you. Ask what the resistance is they're showing you. I just really wanted to add
That's
that.
really important. That is definitely establishing a language, a question and answering, and it's a process too. Sometimes instantly you'll get a flash of a memory, or you get an emotion or whatever, and that it's more information to ask yourself about. And defaulting into, well, I don't know, is also an automatic shutdown. And you want to even look into that. It's like, wow, I was dismissing that question really fast. What am I afraid of there? So all of it is information. All of it is there for us. Pushti, you had something really important.
Yeah, what you were saying earlier and what she said on that is the same thing, that that communication, the pain is a communicator. I know when emotions come up, like you say, you realize you're shutting that down too soon, that question you're not answering. But I think one more thing that we need to look at is, our mind is not just talking our language. Our
Mm.
mind is talking the language of the million people around us, right? So
And
when
our
we shut down,
ancestral.
yeah, when we shut down a question that we do not feel like answering, is because somewhere we wanted to answer that question. It didn't have to come from everybody else's answers, and that because we've not accepted that, which is basically the answer as well as what it's going to make our body do or how it's going to make our body feel. We don't want to answer that because that is pure torture by itself. Going towards the right direction can feel extremely humiliating, can feel very torturous. And the amazing part is, it's not someone else doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself. You're saying, oh my God, I'm so stupid. How could I not have seen this? How could I not have done this? What is wrong with me? And you're thinking, it's okay. It's all right. You know what to do now. Go there now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to tell your mind, because you are going to realize what is your voice and what is someone else's voice in your head. It's very obvious. Your voice is going to be extremely loving. It's not going to judge you. Your voice is going to say, okay, that happened. Let's move on. I literally feel like our own voice says, that's the thing. Okay, get on with it now. It doesn't want to tell you, oh my God, see, you're wrong. See, you should not have done that. You should not have gone here. No, that's everybody else's voice in our heads. We need to be very alert and very aware about whose voice is talking in our head if we really want to have that relationship with our body. Because when we start healing it, for example, let's say my body is dry, so it's asking for maybe oily food. It's telling me go and have some French fries. Why? Because that oil in the French fries is actually going to help my body. It's going to lubricate my skin. It's going to lubricate everything. Maybe my joints will stop hurt. It's a very dirty example. Don't take it literally, but just an example. See, oil. You could need something like that, before someone else possibly will come in and say, you know what, maybe you can actually have an oil bath. That kind of thing. Or pour like two drops of oil in your belly button before you go to sleep, and it makes a huge difference. Something like that. But the thing is, when you are told in your head, go eat that pack of French fries, you are going to run out the door immediately saying, oh my God, that's calories. I'm going to put on weight. I'm anyway big enough. I can't do that again. Just an example. Or like she said, acne. You're saying, except your acne, you say, oh my God, if I have oily food, I'm going to break out into acne again. No, stop. That oil doesn't have the time to pop out. Literally, it is weight. It's lubricating your entire system. So you need to understand what is your voice and what is the voice of the world around you. Because if you don't,
oh, sorry, keep going.
I'm just saying that if you don't understand that, you're not going to really be able to form that relationship.
Right.
And I just wanted to throw in, as you're moving out of a domestic violence situation, abusive relationship, largely you'll find that those voices are things that they have said, things that have been energetically communicated, maybe not directly spoken, but these voices, at least in my experience and many other people that I've talked about, largely come from the biggest factor in what has been causing the shutdown of your body, causing those distortions and miscommunications. A lot of the beliefs, thoughts, and things that were said to you during an abusive period will reverberate in your mind until you identify that they are not yours and establish something new. So
That's so beautiful. I want to wrap up on that comment, on both of those comments. There's so much here. And if there's anything else that, as you've been listening to this, you've got some questions, you can certainly reach out. And you could even post your question in the comments, because there may be others that are asking the same question or have the same thoughts. And by all means, through the Community Gateway, you will find those of us that are on there. Jenica is on there. I think Pushti, I don't know if you're on the Community Gate. Yeah, she's there too. So you can find members on there, and you can actually just start talking to us directly and say, hey, you know what, that comment that you made, can you tell me a little bit more about that? This is what we're here for. This is why this conversation is here. It's not only for support, as something that you can listen to and share with others, but there is an invitation to actually engage. So for today, our third episode on domestic violence and body wisdom after abuse, kind of wrapping that up and just letting you know we appreciate you listening, appreciate you being a part of this, and all of your support for Where's Your Focus, brought to you by the Community Gateway. And we'd like to wish you well. And again, remember that you're welcome to share this with anybody you feel impressed to share with. And the links for the previous 2 episodes will be in the links below. So have a great night. See you.
it was a pleasure to be here. Yay.